I see, I was Edith Tyler, Edith James Tyler. It's a hard story for me because I was so little when when I left Kosovo. But anyway, I remember that my parents was Miss Lady Hola James. She was originated from, the Hola. During the day and Hola War, when some of the immigrants landed to Monrovia, you know, they used to have receive all the orphans, the people they had killed all their parents. So my grandmother was one of the little girls that the Holas took, you know, and now they took her. In fact, she said there were two. My mother told me there were two sisters, but one set of family that they don't even they never knew and never seen her sister from the time they separated them. But their parents were killed during the day and World War. And they took one of the little girls and carried her to another family. And my mother, she of Omehola in Kosovo, took her. And there where they reared her, she was Lily Hola. The name was Lily Hola until she got big and married to Willie James from Kosovo. And his parents were from the same immigrant people. Joe Carter, he was a Carter. Well, his parents too were dead then, so he stayed with his grandfather, Joe Carter. She said her mother told her that where they derived from, that's when they had the war in the Day tribe. I don't know what you call Day tribe and Kula, the two tribes fighting among themselves. And then I don't know what group went there or what. That's when they find all the children, they had killed their parents. And they had the children, they carried them to the descendant of Monrovia. So when they carried them, they had no mom, no pa, no family, nothing, not even food to eat. So that's when they took them to Monrovia. And the people now, the civilized people, or what do you call it? Because the Congo people, they went and started holding them and asking for this one and that one. And everybody picked their part. You know, all of the children, which one, I want this one, I want that one. And some were two together, have some mothers left so many children. And that's how the children were distributed all over the place. There were all these different needs. Now when somebody take them, they would just put them in their need. My grandmother in the interior, and they couldn't even speak English. So that's how they just had children, you know, offering that they caught during the war, and they were just dividing them. This family take this one and that family take the other one. My mother said that's all her mother told her. So she don't even know her family because she's supposed to have relatives even in Monrovia, but they never knew what happened to the other girl. And on, that's how they went. Even my husband, the husband that I married, he was Omer Tyler. It was Omer Tyler, he took one of the boys, and this boy was working Tyler, was Omer Tyler. So he took this Tyler. So that's what my Tyler derived from. But my father, his father was James. You see? And that's how we went on. I can't tell you much because I don't know more. Even what my mother told me, I can't remember all because I was so small. And that's it. I know I was born in Kosovo. And they were born, my parents were all born in Kosovo. But most of them derived from the immigrants that came out and they just divided the children that they had killed their parents. And the children were just there wandering. And it used to be, they say, working into Omer Tyler. They were to the water side, you know, when the boat come or bring the people like that, they would be taking their load, carrying them to different places. I don't know, but that's the story I heard. And I can't remember so much because I was so small. But all I tell you, I mean, sometimes I say, I go. Somebody asked me, my pa, he was West Indian. They said they came from the West Indian, Barbados. My father, people came from Omechi, Canada. That's where they come from. So, and all like that. That's all I can remember because I'll tell you, I didn't even know ABC, so I can't tell you nothing straight. But my grandfather was Omechi Carter, who came from the Carter. And that's how I went on and on and on. And but my mother now, as for her, the whole lot took her from her mother. So the mother was going in whole lot's name. Either my father was Joe Carter was his grandfather. So I can't tell you, but those fathers. Why please cross over a person with? So because somehow, you know, somebody have brothers and sisters and cousins and all like that. So they just run and around. All I remember, my mother told me now that she and my father were married, but now they couldn't make it. And you know, they were separated, something like that. But I was 5 years old when my mother left my father. So she took me and carried me to Ashland to one of her sisters, the whole Ella, she was Ella. She was Ella Hola and Ella. I have to remember Aunt Ella because I was small, but I remember her Aunt Ella. And so there I went to White Plains. And I stayed with Aunt Ella from 5 years old until about 7 or 8 years old. Then my father went and took me from there. I was small, but my work was to take care of the bathroom. And they used to use this slap bucket. So on Saturday, my duty was to take all the slap buckets from in the house and carry them to the river to wash. So I went, and you know those walls that they built to go to the boat. When boat come to, when you go traveling, you go on a, what do you call it, bridge, or where?
Pier, the bridge.
Something like that. I was saying with my auntie, I said, my mom, after she left her husband, she carried me to her sister. And Ella was married to, she was older, but she was married to Dixon, Rocky Dixon. That's who she was married to. And I was small. I used to wash. I said, my work was to take all the slap buckets and carry them to the river on Saturday and scrub them in and out. You see? So one Saturday, and I went to Monrovia that morning. You know, I used to leave, get up so in the morning before day break and go to my work that Saturday now cleaning up the house. We had people there cleaning up the house, but I went to clean up the bathroom. So I took all the slap buckets and carried them to the river to go scrub and wash in and out. That was my job. So while I went on the bridge now, those things that I used to build to go to the boat, you know, from the river. When I got there, scrubbing the drum, and I went to wash them, and the river was full. I think that could have been in September. The river was full. And I got on one of those planks to go near the river. The plank broke, and I fell in the water. And I was just, I mean, say the water was just carrying me, water full and going down. I remember that. I was small, but I can never forget that. And the water was carrying me. The people across the river now, I know that what place it was. Somewhere, I know the settlement name at that time. And the water was carrying me, and the people were shouting from on that side of the river to the other side. Miss LTC hollering, and you all heard it shouting. But anyway, I just went so far down to I felt, you know, a drowning man. I can remember now I can catch on to anything. So I thought I was drowning, like I was small, but I was just catching like this, God just had me catching. And then when I looked like I caught on something, and what it was, an old canoe was tied near the water. And when I grabbed that canoe now, trying to get in there. The canoe turned upside down with me. So anyway, I don't know how I managed, but when I looked, I was on the wall, down the river, walking inside the water to catch on some of the trees, the things that were hanging over the water. And that's how I was saved. I got the water and I went home and I got to the house now. The people was explaining to them from across the water, saw the little girl floating in the water. And I was the one. And I didn't die that time. So I knew God got me now. He has spared my life. I've lived until I was born 1928, September 3rd. And I'm still here. And by the help of the Lord, this year, September 3rd, will make me 95, eh? Will make me 95 years old. So I thank him for everything. It was Simple River because they were living in Cleveland at Simple River. She was Ella Dixon. I knew for Ella Hola, she went to Ella Dixon. I can't remember. Can't remember her married to Mr. Ella Weeks. I can't remember that, but I remember the name. Grandma Liz Fair, she was the first old woman, girl child that was born in the Emerald and close of it. She was the first girl child that they had. Grandma, they used to call, used to call her Grandma Liz. And my cousin, the late JULIUS, he was the one that took her place, JULIUS. And that's why I remember that I one of the old person that even and Luput, I can remember her too. Luput. Cousin Jessica. Cousin Araminta, all those people, I remember them, but I was small. Some of them I can barely remember their feature, but I knew them. And Araminta put, she only had one son. What his name was, no, that not JULIUS, but JULIUS put my Aunt Evelina. I know cousin Nancy, you know all the family, all the everybody that cousin and uncle and auntie. So yeah, I know Nancy Eastman. And when one of her sons was married to one of my cousins. Which one again?
No, Nancy Goodrich. Nancy Goodrich, she had her son was Jonathan.
Yeah, Jonathan. Jim Goodrich. About 3 and a 4. John Goodrich and all of them. I was small, but I remember all of them and they knew me. And even what I know good, I can remember JULIUS put that one he was related to me on my past side. You see, and Evelina was his mother. Evelina put. Even the Crawfords, Napoleon took Crawford and Napoleon Thorpe. The other one was Isaac Thorpe, one of their sister, Fake Thorpe. And all those girls, I don't know if you knew any of them. Joe, my mom used to stop them when we were small. Uncle, Aunt Tricia. Her son, Andy, Ashley Holler, and he was married to Rebecca. Rebecca, no, even though she was not Holler, he was married to cousin Rebecca.
She had Ashley and Lance.
Yeah, Ashley Lance. I knew all the people. I was small, but I remember all of them. Because my mom, she used to go to no other family. Where she used to go to her family people. I live, you know where I got married? I got married in Sarah Holler house in number 7. I was stay with Aunt Sarah too. No, the Tylers didn't have a house in close of it. That's Arlington.
Okay, okay.
And once my husband carried me to Arlington when we first got married to go see Omer Tyler on my first time seeing himself. But the East ones were related to my family. They put they were related. That's why I say, you know, sometimes you know all the people were cousin and uncle and auntie and different things like that. Grandma Liz fan. Grandma Liz. I always call her Grandma Liz. That's the place. That's her house. JULIUS bought, and I think he took care of Grandma Liz until she passed. And he buried him. But I remember JULIUS was a family person. The family that we had in men, and in fact, my family itself, the men, nearly all of them died years ago. Because my brother, Rudolph James, and JULIUS Wood, or they were first cousins. JULIUS Wood. No, our people, they were not related to us, our Wood, but our Wood were near to my father on the old road in Crusoe. My father, he had a house going to go into Presbyterian Church, the Presbyterian Church on the old road. My father's house was right there, and his house, his aunt gave it to him, one of his great aunt, the Nora Journey, and Nora, we used to call her. Every week, and Nora used to send a basket of food for my pa, because he was just a carpenter. And he'd go all around working. Sometimes he go to Kibbersworth, he would stay there for a week before he come, and just our small children used to be in the house. My oldest sister was Tyler James. We were three, our mother and father. Tyler James, Rudolph James, and I was the youngest, Edith James. Papa when I married him.
But I first have people PORTE.
Yeah, PORTE. My mother had PORTE, had Bernice PORTE before she got married, before she married to my pa. But I was my pa's husband who she married. My mother had, her oldest child was Bernice PORTE. Then the next one was Exeter Crawford. One Isaac Crawford, he was her father. And from Isaac Crawford, then that's when my father married her, Willie James. She had 2 children before she got married. And she had 3 for my father. Tyler James, Rudolph James, and Edith James. The 3 of us. But all of my sister and brother, all gone. In fact, my mother's children, all gone. And they used to work in, I may say, like cool. Something like that. How in the day people are going to cool to work. When they build in a house, they go with the whole group will go to, if they're going to Carisburg, they're going to Carisburg, that's for a week. And how much they used to pay to people, so I think 8 shillings for building house for a week, they would get 8 shillings. And that 8 shillings when they go home, what they would carry for us, for the little family. So now 8 cups of rice, 1 bottle of PADMORE, a bottle of kerosene, 1 smoked fish.
What?
I used to live over there. 8 shillings for the whole week to go away. Everybody go home to get 8 shillings. And I think they keep buying to carry home. My father had 3 children in his house. And that's our food for the whole week. So when I left food, they would leave with us when they got finished. I would cook the little dry rice, and I would got rice here. We cook the little dry rice. And my older sister, who was our cook, when she finished like that, no PADMORE, the smoked fish, 1 smoked fish in it. And other thing she would send my brother, Rudolph, say, go down the street to cousin Cynthia and Crawford. To her brother was at her party house down the road, our neighbor. They go tell Wilma to please a little oil to eat our dry rice. The oil Papa left with us to finish. So now she go now. If they got oil, they send her maybe a little tomato cup. Sometimes half. Or sometimes when they say they don't have anything, when Rudolph went home, when he went down the road, you hear him coming. Empty go, empty come, And then she will know that he get nothing. And we were just living, in poverty. Mother and father were together, so he was the carpenter. My mom used to go get all the family around there, get the children their dirty clothes, go wash it, go to one big creek and Leah and Grandma Liz place. We used to call it Fanger water. We used to go to, everybody to go to wash clothes there. We go to Fanger to wash clothes. And my father, she take all the people dirty clothes, go to this house, that house. You know, take those clothes, carry them home when the clothes dry. But she carry home and they dry. She would iron it on Saturday. She carry it all around. And those that were ill, some they giving her the food stuff. My father was really poor. When I say poor, I mean poor. He worked so hard. When time come again, they had him cleaning the road, what do you call it? Cleaning to cut the grass out of the road. The government people now, if you don't cut the grass, and we used to punish them, or you don't go to drill and different things, used to be punished. My father, the son had like that, he cutting grass. They would measure the side of the road. They would cut grass and things, and doing it. He would bleed out the nose. I remember good, he used to bleed out the nose heavily, sometimes hard labor. And a whole lot of hard time, I was small, I remember plenty of them. But anyway, so that government work you doing. No, you're not prisoner, you're not anything, but you don't cut road, they fine you. You don't got money to pay, and the money for the government people, they pay you nothing, never pay you. To drill and to cut, clean the road, the woman used to be punishing them. You're the young men. From I think they say from 21 years or something like that. They say from 21 men or something like that. I don't think they used to come out to trouble the old people, I don't think. But the young people from 21, they say you man. So you must take the man responsibility. That was on the old road in Crosserville. And there where the ports came and they established themselves behind the old road that they have big property there, house and everything there. A graveyard there too. Yes. Behind the church, I remember I used to go bury people there. If I say I didn't go to school, I didn't go. But anyway, when I remember I was going to Mr. Henry's school when I was small. It was 1938. I remember when even Greenwood killed his wife Salome and all. I remember we were going to school that morning. And that was the news. Greenwood had killed Salome. What's with that? You pass the close of it. White green area there. Behind the Robertsville. There was Greenwood killed his wife and there was his house. I don't know if that was the first of. But I know you never heard the story about Greenwood and Salome. The CNS, that's what they used to call it, CNS. Weapon School. I remember that morning I went to school. It was more, but I remember the name. They said Greenwood had killed Salome. If you ask some of the other old people, I search the record, you might find it. But I was not even going to school and I couldn't read. I don't think I hardly knew ABC. Yeah, I don't know what happened between the girlfriend and yeah, but now this is Salome and Greenwood story. It says somebody came from Monrovia that day, and when they got there, the White Plains or somewhere, they met, and this Greenwood wife boyfriend sent a letter by one of the passengers to this woman. And now it's still a little while. Once Salome, I think so, says he met the Greenwood coming on the road. Then she told him, she said, Greenwood, and somebody, your wife, boyfriend just sent her a letter. But this person brought a letter and they gave it to her. She read the letter, but she took and put it in her bra. So if you meet her or when you get home, you just put your hand in her bra because she just left from here. I know you will meet her there also now she had reached home. And you will see the letter. So that's the thing now. Her friend, her best friend, how she did to Salome. So when they say as soon as the woman entered in the house, when she looked, she saw her husband behind her. And as soon as he got there, he put his hand in her bra and took this letter off and read it. That's what they started asking what the red hand and thing like that. This is for the letter for him to read. So anyway, he conquered her. I don't know how he managed, but he said he grabbed her, broke her fingers one by one, each one she could. He carried it back, broke it. And then after that, they fought. So one little boy that was living with them, he was under the house. You know, all the houses, you got long pillars and under the house. And the little boy, she was howling, calling the little boy. You call the people, killing me, call the people. She said the little boy said that she holler and holler until he didn't hear her talk anymore. So like that, he said that the blood from upstairs started dripping down on him, something like that. And the boy got afraid and he went running to, we got on the road and started walking from closer from Harrisburg, not Harrisburg, and Robertsville, where the house was. And he started going on the road and he walked to Harrisburg at night. When he got to Harrisburg, he went to this girl, Salome family, and told them, say, I think Mom did, because she had bring who were here, they're fighting in the room. But afterward, I didn't hear Mom anymore. And look at my clothes, he said, look at the blood, you see the blood all on it. I think she did. They said that's what the alarm was made. And all the young men, all the men in Harrisburg got together that night and started going to Robertsville or where. But that's when the news got up. And that's how this Salome died, her husband Greenwood. That was a great story, all Liberia. So that's all I know. I can remember. But some people like our put the weeks, the holders, the top of the Carters, all the one I remember the names are from our grandparents, great grandparents. I never saw any of them, and I know none of them. When I got married, I'm from Nima County. My husband was working in Nima County. You see? And what happened, my brother got married first, Rudolph James. He was married to Hannah Dillon. That's who he was married to. And God bless her, she's still living today, Hannah Dillon. I think she and myself are about the same age. She is still alive, my brother's wife. I talked with her 2 days ago. She is very old as I am, but yet we thank God. When she called me sometimes, she says, Sister Edith, how you doing? I said, Sister Hannah, I'm still around. And we started praying, talking to each other. And that's it. But I don't know nothing much to tell you of the history of Liberia. But I remember when Grand Greenwood came, I think I was in ABC, but we were coming from school that day, we used to walk from Closerville to Robertsville, or what the school was, wiping or something, Robertsville, somewhere there. And I haven't been to that place there, but I know what. That's a war that they had. Huh?
So she got married in the 50s, right? You got married in the 50s and 1951. And they live in Nimba, just south of Ganta, in the town called Queen. The Tyler farm, we have a very big farm there. Is maybe about 500 acres or so. Her husband was the tax collector. He also did diamond mining in Nimba. And he grew rubber my mom, they all grew rubber and they sold rubber to Firestone. So for maybe about 30 years or so, she lived on her farm. And later on, when she was the only one on the farm, her children decided to take her down to Monrovia. So she was in Monrovia until the war came. And that's how we all went back on the farm, but we just had to get out of the country because the war was just raging. And we went to the Ivory Coast. We went to the Ivory Coast, and from the Ivory Coast, we came here. But there was 2 different wars. So I guess the first war was in 1990, and then we went back, and then the second war came again. That's when we said we have to leave this country. It was just a second time of this war. So she spent most of her life in Liberia on her farm in Nimba.
They didn't give me in a hard time so much, I mean, see, because we had nothing, but we all used to work together. I used to make my little farm, plan my little garden to do. I used to pick the crops, carry it to Kanta Mission to sell. And that's how I used to help myself. And I always make bread. Everybody call me. Until now, some of them, they already made the cornbread. I used to sell bread all around. Now the town behind us there on the farm, it used to be, what do you call it, sir? The town behind it. Tonodi or somewhere. The people used to walk from there to come on the road. When they pass through my place there, to go on the road. So sometimes they come on the road, no car for them to go anywhere. They couldn't go, so now they sat there whole day. So I used to make bread. When I make the bread, I said, I got bread to sell. If they have money, they will come and buy.
Yeah.
If they don't have money, I will give them bread to eat.
Yeah, I just want to add something to that because the bread story is really interesting because she used to make bread, and our farm was just on the way to the only school in that area. And so all the children, they passed through our farm to go to school. So in the morning, you know, breakfast for children was not very affordable for most people. So people stopped by and just got bread. So those who could afford it, like she said, you know, they bought it for little or nothing, maybe 5 cents for a whole big piece of bread. And those who couldn't afford it, she just provided bread for the school children. Now, I used to get mad at her because she was just doing marketing and just giving it away for free. And I didn't understand what she was doing, but years later, when we were leaving Liberia, at every checkpoint, it seemed like God had placed one of those rebel soldiers there that she probably gave bread to, and that's how our life was saved. So every time we got to a checkpoint, somebody would say, oh, this woman, she used to give us bread when we used to go to school. You don't touch your children. And it was almost like every checkpoint we got to, we had somebody there that she fed at some point in their life. And the bread story is very personal to me because I feel I'm alive today because of what she was doing for those children.
All I can say to them, they must try to be friendly and be nice to people. Well, anything they do today, they will get the result. If you do good, that will be before you. If you do bad, it will be before you. Because I remember once while I was going from place to place, once the airplane was just flying over us, and everybody was bending down and shouting and different things. And I didn't bend down. When the children said, Mama, the plane come here, you gotta bend down. I said, I'm not bending down. And I only was repeating in my heart the 23rd Psalm. And I repeated the Psalm each time. The gunshot would pass from me and go to another place. And when we listen to all that, they say they had killed so many persons. You hear? And it was just in danger, but I trusted the Lord. All I can tell them, they must forever pray and trust, know that God can do everything and anything for them. If it's pleasant, you must thank him. If it's not good, you must thank him. Because he is a God that will never fail you. Everybody to remember me. I've never been a harsh person. Always smile and do things. Try to read the Bible and go by what God's words say. I read it every day. I want the public to remember me as I was a mother. I care for people, not only my children or my family. I care for everybody. And I try to be kind and honest with everybody. So that's a good thing, to be kind and humble. And before doing anything in this world, we should pray and ask the Lord to direct us and lead us in the path of righteousness. Amen.
What I've learned from my mom is being very humble in life. And that has helped me a lot, just try to be very humble and have a very good relationship with God, because a lot of things in this world we don't understand, and we probably will never understand, but sometimes you just have to leave things with God, because, I mean, if you can't find answers to a lot of things in life, you just have to leave it with God. And her spiritual strength has been something that I've learned from a lot. So her spiritual strength, her humility, her compassion, love for people, and those are some of the things. I mean, there are more, but those are highlights of what I like about her, really. What's your favorite Liberian food?
Well, I like our food very much.
Which one's your favorite? Which one?
So my favorite food is anything. I like all the black people food, the poor ones. Like the sour edo and all those things. Instead of bread, I can have that every morning, and I'm satisfied.
I love soup. I love just pepper soup. That's my favorite, really. Yeah, I love pepper soup. I'm just happy for this opportunity for her to share. She shared things with you that I didn't know that she could remember, and things I didn't know about her. So this was a good experience for me too, because I didn't know she had such a great memory of certain things. She remembered a lot of things that her mother told her when she was 5 years old and all that. I don't know if I can remember anything from 5 years old, but she did a good job, and I learned a lot from this experience. So I probably started to go to war in high school when I was in Liberia, but I didn't know that human side of it, where children were, adopted and shared and all those different things. I didn't know that part about it. And it's just an interesting piece that she shared, really. Like the human side of war, the human suffering and the displacement, because that's something we experienced too, in our war in Liberia. So it's something that I can relate to, really.
Thank you.
So this was a good experience, and just want to thank you for, making it possible. And,